When it comes to saving for retirement, there's so much information out there, books and articles on top of articles, and they all say similar things like don't wait too long to start saving, and don't put your assets at risk and have a jeopardy of losing your nest egg, or don't be too conservative or you'll never outpace inflation. But we have found there's a huge problem out there, and there's not enough education for spending your retirement and living your golden years the way that you want to. What we are going to go through today is a risk you may have never heard of, but you absolutely need to be aware of. Let me introduce to you Morgan Marks, who's an investment advisor representative and a fiduciary, which means she's bound by the duties to do what's absolutely right for the investor without any conflict of interest. Morgan's going to take us through that huge peril of retirement distribution planning and that risk that you may have never heard of while you were saving for retirement, but you absolutely need to plan for now. Well, we know there's always some form of risk in the investment and savings world. There is a risk-reward relationship, if you will. As a fiduciary, it's my obligation to talk to you about all of these risk-reward relationships. Now, nothing's perfect out there, and nothing eliminates every risk and gives you the reward you're probably looking for. But unless you can start your retirement savings all over again, you absolutely need to understand these special types of risk for retirees. You may have heard about that category of risk we like to call market risk, which is really several risks that combine to impact the value of anything directly invested in any type of stock market exchange. To many people, they just call it stock market risk. One of the things we absolutely know for sure is that the stock market is going to go up and it's going to go down. But you know what? You save for retirement just fine in those up and down markets. So why do you even need to concern yourself while you're living your golden years? Let's take a look at this. While you were accumulating dollars for retirement, let's imagine you are putting in $1,000 a month into your 401k while you're working and using the other part of your paycheck to live on, paying for all of your living expenses like mortgage, car notes, life insurance, utilities, groceries, or your pleasure activities like going on vacation or whatever else you wanted to do. So at the top of the market, let's say your favorite stock or mutual fund in that 401k is selling for $100 a share. Your $1,000 buys 10 shares of that favorite. Now we're going to imagine the stock market goes down. If you have the intestinal fortitude to continue to invest in the same way, at the bottom we're going to imagine that favorite stock or mutual fund is now $10 a share. At the bottom, your $1,000 at $10 a share buys 100 shares. Now, as we said before, the market goes up and down. So let's be fair and pretend the market comes back to the exact same spot that it was before, and those shares are back to $100 a share. Well, if you've invested at the bottom, you benefited because those shares you bought, those 100 shares you bought at $10 a share, are now worth $100 a share. Obviously, this is a good thing as it pertains to accumulating wealth for an extended period of time when you can afford to wait for the recovery and you're investing for retirement. Now let's talk about the exact opposite scenario when you are distributing money from retirement and you're using your own dollars to create your own paychecks to pay for those living expenses, some of which are the same, like groceries and utilities and gasoline, and some things are going to be new, like supplemental health insurance or medication. Just out of curiosity, do you think it makes a big difference or a little difference if you pulled out money in the exact same way you put money in? So let's assume you can get all those expenses taken care of for that same $1,000 a month that you are putting in. This time we're just going to take $1,000 a month out. If we're at the top, we can use the same top number we did before, and we could sell 10 shares of that favorite fund or stock to get you that $1,000. We aren't considering taxes, of course, because we only want to illustrate the sequence that we're talking about here. So if you sell 10 shares, you get your $1,000 and all bills are paid for. Now, since a healthy person can easily spend up to 30 years in retirement, we certainly know the market will do what the market does, and that is go up and down. So if you use the same scenario as before, we're now selling 100 shares at the bottom to give you that same $1,000 to go pay bills. The issue here is not when the market comes back up, because it eventually will, but if that up is within the time horizon of your retirement, because you don't benefit from those 100 shares that you just sold gaining their value back. What would happen if at the beginning of your retirement the market's on its downturn and you're pulling out your $1,000 a month as the market was seeking its bottom versus the opposite. We call that sequence of events, and it's something that you need to be keenly aware of when you're nearing or in retirement. In the analyst world, sequence of events ties into probability of failure. And in your world, probability of failure means you ran out of money. If you don't know what your probability of failure is on your current retirement income plan, you need some education. Unless you're 110% sure that you have zero probability of failure, meaning zero probability that you are going to run out of money in retirement, feel free to get a little bit more education and download our special piece on how to avoid retirement risk and uncover unique opportunities, because what you don't know can cost you thousands.